who, like us, love sprint car racing. Joining us on the hotline is Kasey. Hello, Kasey. Welcome into Wing Nation.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me today. It's always good to be on Wing Nation and love your guys' show.
Well, we love when we get a chance to talk to you. And Kasey, as we wrap up this season, 10 wins for the KKR boys. I know your season was a little rough with Darren getting injured, but how would you summarize what you guys have done this year?
Well, I think it's the biggest thing that I see out of our guys is they've worked really hard to get speed. And the first half of the year, we really actually struggled to have the speed and run in the top five. It was probably one of our most difficult starts since we started KKR and started racing with the World of Outlaws. But as the season went, since really probably late July, early August, they've been able to just keep working and trying things and get to where we need to be. And we're closing out much stronger than where we were at the start of the year, and feel really confident, finishing the season. Hopefully we can carry some of that for the next year. Yeah, it's been a tough time. Really good times.
Hey, I think one of the most exciting parts of this season was that you got to get back behind the wheel of a sprint car. Talk about getting back in the car, and was there a lot of adjustment time, or did it all come right back to you?
Yeah, well, I had a blast getting to race a few times. Mr. Anderson didn't want me to there for a while, so it was tough to go. And then finally this year, he said it was okay. So I raced 7 times total, starting in January and running to Attica and Eldora in June with Ohio Speed Week. So it was good. The stuff in January was pretty difficult to figure out, but in July or June, whenever it was, I actually felt really comfortable and enjoyed racing the sprint car. So I think it's just, when you're not in it for a while, it's definitely kind of tough to go out there and really compete at such a high level that the guys doing it all the time is. So, that was tough, but as we went along, I think I got a little bit better and look forward to next year. Next year, I really hope to run at least 10 nights and have a lot more fun and success with it.
Yeah, just last week, a huge announcement with the NASCAR schedule coming out. No Cup race on the same night as the Knoxville Nationals. Is that a race that might be scheduled for you?
Well, I think it's a neat weekend to be open. I'll be able to go to my first, complete Knoxville Nationals in years. But if the 4 cars there, I would say more than likely it'll have another driver in it. I think that race it's such a big race. Everybody brings their best stuff. That's probably not the race I need to be doing, but I think it's a great race to go and support and be at and enjoy. And maybe we could run the 4 car there with another driver.
Kasey, I think that's amazing because you're a world-class driver, you win all these Cup races and everything, but I think that's a real testament to how good the 2015, 26 full-time, whether it be World of Outlaw, whether it be Knoxville guys in Ohio, Pennsylvania, man, there are some talented race car drivers. A guy running 7 times a year, that's tough to go in there and make hay.
Yeah, it's tough, and the format there is so difficult. You have to, in order to get through that heat race, if you qualify good and then start 8th and get through your heat, or even 7th or 6th, it's so difficult to get through your heat. So the guys that are doing it and making it through and then starting them, finishing well that night in A-Main and then starting up front in A-Main the final night, they're on their game. They're super, super good. So I think that's awesome for sprint cars and would, love to get a driver to come in there and maybe run my car at that show.
I can already hear drivers like, hey, I know Kasey Kane's phone number.
Exactly.
So when you go to races like that, or when you go to NASCAR races, Steve and I talk about this all the time, and people I don't think believe us, that when we go to NASCAR tracks, people want to talk to us more about sprint car racing than NASCAR. Do you get that a lot when you're at the track on the weekends?
I get some sprint cars. I probably get more NASCAR, but I definitely always get sprint cars. And, I think the main reason is because everybody knows how much I enjoy it, plus our sprint car teams and what Brad Sweet and Darren Pittman are doing out there each year, traveling all over the place. So there's a lot of people that follow them and see that. So I think a little bit of both, but I would say it's a little more NASCAR, but definitely always sprint car involved.
Kasey, you mentioned in Yuma last January that it took a little bit to get up to speed. Have cars changed that much? Was it driver rusty? What was it that took you some time to get back up to speed in a sprint car?
Well, I thought it was a couple of things. Our car was off, and I was rusty. So that between those two things, it was really tough to get going. The final night we were much better, but still a bit rusty. I think we were on fourth or fifth the final night, so it was getting better anyway. So I was happy about that. But yeah, I think the big thing is just being rusty and not like, you got to be good right off the bat. You can't miss it in your heat at that particular weekend because it's all points. So if you miss it in one heat, then maybe you're better the next heat or whatever, but you've lost those points, so you end up starting in the back of the A or even in the B main, and it's pretty difficult from there. So, I think it's just probably being rusty more than anything. But this year I'm going to Australia for 6 nights and then going to Yuma, so hopefully I'll be a little bit better in Yuma.
Oh my gosh, we can't wait to talk about that and a whole lot more. Kasey, stay with us. Everyone else hang in there. More with Kasey Kahne later on the program. Our Tweet Your Seat. Tweets of the week. These are really cool as well. Stay with us, everyone. We are having a fascinating conversation with Kasey Kahne, and just before the break, he laid on us 6 nights in Australia, then Yuma. Holy cow, Kasey, how did this all come about?
Well, our drivers go over there each year and race, and different shows over there. And when I was in Knoxville this year, the guys from Sydney Speedway talked to me, so I was really interested to go over to Brad Sweet, does it each year and runs really well at Sydney Parramatta. So set that up. We do a couple in December, the end of December, and then 3 I think in the beginning of January, and then come back to Yuma for the last 2 shows at Yuma. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Parramatta Speedway is a great racetrack. Hopefully the weather's awesome, that time of the year over there, and we can get 8 total nights in of racing there in about 13 or 14 days, and feel like I'd be pretty confident and enjoying sprint cars, driving sprint cars at that point.
Don't you ever want a vacation? Don't you ever just want to get completely away from racing?
Well, I'll have a vacation early December, so I'll be good for a couple weeks, and then I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, because I think most sprint car drivers couldn't last more than a couple weeks without needing to get back into
2
it.
to 3 weeks, and then you're missing it way too much.
Exactly. Kasey, something in your life changed here not too long ago. The baby. How's the son? How's life as a dad?
Oh man, it's been great. He's Kahne is doing awesome. He's growing a little bit, and it's just the sleep. I haven't got near as much sleep as I'm used to, but I'm fine with it for whatever reason. I don't feel tired, even though I'm not sleeping near as much, and taking care of him at night. He wakes up twice during the night, 2 to 3 times during the night, needs food, and then burps and cleans the diaper, and then we try to get him back to sleep. So it's been completely new to me and different, but I've enjoyed every minute of it so far.
Yeah, Kasey, you were raised in a really supportive family that was always supportive of your racing career. Now that you have a son, and I'm sure people ask this all the time, or make the comments of, oh, he's a future racer. Knowing everything you know about racing, is that something that you would be supportive of with Tanner?
Well, I think I would definitely be supportive of it. I feel like the things that I've done in racing, the people I've met, the times that I've enjoyed, I wouldn't want to do anything else. So I know all that stuff's great. There's so many down times as well in racing that I think about, man, do I want him to go through some of those down times, because it's not. But if that's the direction he would want to go, absolutely I would support him, with everything I can and help him, as much as possible. I think one thing that I really enjoyed that my parents had me do, and they never pushed me into racing, but they did really want me to play sports. So I played baseball, basketball, soccer, when I was young, and coaches, and to have people pushing you and holding you accountable, making you work hard in sports growing up, I think, helped me as much as anything also. So I'll definitely want him to play sports and enjoying himself there, and then if he really has a passion for racing, absolutely, we'll go racing.
Were you any good at any of those sports?
I was actually pretty decent at baseball and basketball. Second and shortstop in baseball, and kind of like a guard in basketball. Played pretty decent. I wasn't great at any of them, but definitely played okay and enjoyed it and worked hard. Those practices, the coaches ask a lot out of you. So as a kid, it can be pretty difficult at times, and I think it builds you up pretty nicely.
One thing we talked about, Steve, when we entered this show tonight was that fans love when drivers give back to the sports they're raised in. Kasey, you of course are one of those drivers that the sprint car fans love for that reason. Was that a plan as your career started to progress? Did you plan on getting back involved in sprint car racing and owning teams, or did that just kind of all fall together and happen?
I think more than anything, it just happened because of how much I enjoyed sprint car racing. And then as I started doing it, I realized that, then I realized, man, I really enjoy giving back also, and having, 9, 10, 11 employees each year working on sprint cars, working in, short track racing with the drivers and everything, and just trying to give them the best equipment that I can. So that was, I think originally it just started because how much I loved it, and then it's been that and giving back and, everything else that comes along with it. The fans enjoy it. I love going all over to the, different racetracks that I can make each year, and the teams travel a lot. So it's a tough schedule and everything, but I've always really enjoyed it. And to have 2 World Outlaw teams is pretty cool to me.
No doubt about it. 2013 World of Outlaw champion with Darren Pittman. I can't believe it's been since 2005 you've owned KKR. It just seems like time flies.
It's crazy.
It really does. Kasey, we appreciate your time. Continued success with all of your racing adventures, particularly the sprint car stuff. That's what we like to talk about here on Wing Nation. But thanks for joining us, and enjoy the off season that you will have. It's only 2 weeks of off time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, Steve Kinder. We'll talk to you guys later.
There we go. That is Kasey Kahne. And man, that is, that's so funny to me listening to him. He talks about his schedule. We're hoping to get 6 nights in Australia, a couple nights in Yuma, so we can get 8 nights of racing in 13. That sounds like Brian Brown and every other driver.
Yeah.
How can we get so much more out of it? How can we race so many times?
And we hear all the time, long season, long season, long season. And as soon as that season's over,
They're ready to go again.
They're ready to get right back in that car.
I mentioned Brian Brown. We'll have Brian Brown unplugged in just a little bit, and a whole lot more.